Nintendo Switch 2 is finally here. I've been playing it non-stop, and I want to share my early thoughts and first experiences while owning it so far. Starting with the hardware itself, I'm not a tech reviewer. I am definitely way more here for the software and tend not to go super in depth about this sort of thing in videos like this. But I will say, at the time of recording this, with about 20 to 30 hours of hands-on time so far, Switch 2 is the best overall feeling handheld to me to date. I have a Steam Deck that feels super bulky and unwieldy for me. My V2 Switch 1 feels sleeker and easier to hold in comparison to that, with the downside of it feeling less premium. Switch OLED improves on that a little bit, but when it's all said and done, the Switch 2 feels like the best of all worlds. We get the larger, higher resolution and refresh rate screen by virtue of that improvement. We get larger Joy-Con, and while I think Switch OLED's kickstand was good enough, Switch 2 even improves on that. It's still early days, so a lot of this is surely honeymoon phase, but I will say all of these enhancements on Switch 2 specifically have led me to actively want to play my Switch 2 in handheld mode in particular more. I was already the type to divide my time in both modes rather than being all docked or handheld only, but now I feel like I'll be leaning more towards handheld than previously. I touched on them, but I gotta say, Joy-Con 2 will likely become a primary controller for me this time around, as opposed to Switch 1, where I really only ever chose to use them in handheld mode. And this change is entirely owed to the Joy-Con 2's mouse mode, although I do need to rearrange my desk a bit so I can get the best experience possible.
Oh, AJ, they're all coming for you.
I want to change my jump button. Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour showed me that it can be a fun change of pace for addictive, more casual gaming, but Fortnite, of all things, sold me in particular on the mouse mode as a whole, and I am now dead set on needing Marvel Rivals on Switch 2. Cool mouse mode. Make Marvel Rivals.
I need more mouse mode.
Make Marvel Rivals so I can delete this game off my Switch. On the topic of accessories, I went ahead and snagged a Switch 2 Pro controller and camera with my Mario Kart World bundle, and the latter of which I'll get into in a future video entirely dedicated to game chat. But as far as the Switch 2 Pro controller is concerned, it's a less drastic but similar story to the Switch 2 console itself, a straightforward upgrade to the original. The Switch 2 Pro controller makes subtle improvements like the analog sticks glide seamlessly, the material feels softer to the touch, that sort of thing. The more obvious improvements are the headphone jack, which, while cool, isn't something I gravitate toward using personally, but it is important to note will undoubtedly improve a lot of people's experiences, especially people that play games on their couch more often than not, whereas I play them at my desk. And finally, in regards to Pro Controller 2, I think the biggest bonus over the original controller is the GL and GR buttons. I'm the type of person that prefers to tailor my controllers to as granular a degree as the game allows. For instance, rather than leaving default controls in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, I remap most of them to fit my playstyle. The addition of these back buttons allows me to fine-tune my control scheme even more, and with these buttons in particular, you can seamlessly choose what they should do or if they matter at all on a game-to-game basis, regardless of generation of the game that you're playing. So if accidental presses of a button you don't want are a concern, rest assured that the button only does something if you decide you want it to. To go back to the hardware itself before moving on to the games, online connectivity has drastically improved. I went from capping at 70 megabytes per second down when wired to frequently 10xing that benchmark on Nintendo Switch 2. It took me around 10 minutes to install Mario Kart World, a 22 gigabyte game, for example. And though it's less important for day-to-day use, upload speeds have also been drastically improved from roughly 30 megabytes per second to 115 megabytes per second, and I got respectable speeds while on Wi-Fi as well. To put it into perspective, Switch 2 outperformed every other current gen console in my testing. That's saying a lot given Nintendo's reputation with gamers in regards to online gaming. As for the games themselves, I plan to highlight standout titles in individual videos, but to summarize my experience so far, here's some quick thoughts on what I've done. The first thing I did, against my will, Yo,
hop on Soul Calibur. I'm sick of this.
I don't even think that is downloaded yet. All right, I'm about to go on Soul Calibur. Was play Soul Calibur 2 online against a friend.
Whatever.
All right, I lost interest in this. I'd never actually even had interest in this. Shit, mad long. The game ran well, and there wasn't any noticeable lag or delay. Also, it was fun to play as Boy Zelda in Soul Calibur 2 again after years of not touching that game. Hopefully someone can play as Ivy. I used to be in love with her. Yo, I hate to break it to you. I am exclusively playing as Boy Zelda for the entire time that I played this game ever.
This is a Link group chat. He's playing Link. Which one is Ivy?
I think it's bottom right. Like, yeah, that one.
Oh, no thanks. I know what you are.
I tested the Nintendo Switch 2 edition games like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, which feel noticeably more fluid in 60 frames per second.
It definitely tooketh.
Oh, look at all the frames, man. There's so many frames.
Go look at a tree. Go look at a tree.
This ain't Pokemon. I also tested Pokemon Scarlet, which for some revived that game from being unplayable. Yo, look at the frames. There's frames, man.
Yo, AJ's in España and mad friend.
This guy with all the frames. I gotta do a raid battle.
You can move a lot faster because you got more frames.
Man, I got mad frames now. But for me, aside from feeling more fluid, doesn't really change my view much of that game as someone that played it for hundreds of hours. I tested what I think is a notable omission from receiving the Switch 2 edition treatment, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, which loads a lot quicker and runs a bit smoother, but its biggest improvement for me is the official native back button support. Again, this is something that I plan to touch on in a specific backward compatibility video, but that's just what I tested so far in this realm. As for the main event, exclusive Switch 2 games, I booted up Welcome Tour first and am having a lot of fun with it despite online discourse. And while I wish the game was less linear and let me bounce around in whatever order I choose, the only thing holding me back specifically from marathoning this game is my desire to stream as much of the experience as possible to use for footage, again, in a future video. If you're not subscribed at this point of the video and you're still here, you should probably get subscribed so you can see all these thing. And the belle of the ball, Mario Kart World Tour, is a phenomenal and a much needed breath of fresh air for someone that has been begging Nintendo for a new Mario Kart game after being burnt out on Mario Kart 8, given the fact that I already poured 400 plus hours into that game on Wii U. All in all, I am very happy with Nintendo Switch 2 so far and am excited to dive in deeper and experience more games. I want to pick up Cyberpunk 2077, Street Fighter 6, and a lot of other future third-party games that are now possible because I already know I'll spend way more time playing them here than on my other consoles. I'm even more excited to experience Nintendo's first-party offerings to the platform, and I am actively counting the days to the release of Donkey Kong Bonanza. Like the video and subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed your time here and would like to see more thoughts on what I touched on here in those future videos I mentioned. If you like to support Redirect and receive various perks in return, head to shop.watchredirect.com and become a member just like our executive producer Trev L. Steinberg and all of these other names you see scrolling on the screen. Okay, that's it for me. See you in the next video.